Hey guys, it's GHP and welcome to some more spoiler reviews. Now today we're going to be doing this one live on Twitch. For those of you who do not know, I previously was a full-time streamer, and now with me being outside of school, I'm going to be doing a lot more streaming. So feel free to check me out, twitch.tv/notoriousghp. Probably sounds really weird for the people watching right now, since I've been doing this for 4.5 hours or something now. But let's take a look at some cards. We have 6 today. Starting with Hideout Pistol. So it's a 2-mana 1/0 weapon, which is something we haven't seen anything like it yet. But summon if played on a gunslinger. So we're just looking at cheap weapons here. You kill an enemy unit with less power than the wielder. What this card actually says is it's 2 mana, give a gunslinger +1/+0, and cast Suffocate. That's the real answer to this. Like, this card, unless you randomly get it on like some 12/12 minion, is not killing Surso or something. It's not going to happen. But what this card is designed for is to give you a cheap spell to play on your gunslingers that maybe pick off that Oni Ronin, that Temple Scribe, maybe that Amber Acolyte, maybe like a Seraph. But you're not, the fact that it's less than, not less than or equal to, limits this card to being more of a Suffocate, maybe a little worse where it's actually 2 or less. I'm not sure yet. I don't think this card is great, but I also don't think it is bad, and I think this is a meta call type of weapon for the Gunslinger deck. I think outside of the Gunslinger deck, this card obviously doesn't see play. It's built for Gunslingers. But I don't know if the Gunslinger deck, A, wants to play black, and B, I have no idea if it actually has, if it actually wants to include this card, because you're already competing with like Ornate Katana, Shogun Scepter, Lathrai Falchion, if you're just in like Stone Scar colors, for example. I don't know what chat currently thinks on it. If anyone wants to pipe up and talk about what you think of the cards, feel free. But I don't think this card's going to see a ton of play. I would not mind being wrong, though. I think it's a cool card, but I don't see it seeing much play. Let's take a look at our next one, though. So, before I talk further, there's an event happening this weekend, and from what I understand, as in, I have not read it yet, and chat's about to probably tell me I'm an idiot. All the tribal cards get cost 1 less in the event, and one of each of the following 5 cards will be in your deck, depending on color. That's what I'm understanding. So, Combustion Cell. 2-mana relic. That once per turn, you may sacrifice a unit to get +1 power this turn. Which is interesting. If it was Grendel, it's 2. So, you give yourself another sack outlet towards ramping, maybe towards the Grendelin Lord, so to say, which is the 7-mana 3/4 that plays all the Grendelins. Look at my wonderful chat. Of course you're an idiot. Thanks, Gazu. I think this card, at its mana cost, is not that bad. It's an interesting way to ramp. The problem is, the Grendelin deck right now looks like it's either Praxis or Stone Scar. If it's Praxis, it already has Power Stone, which I think is probably better than this. In Stone Scar, maybe not. But the Stone Scar side, I'm expected to be a bit more aggressive. Definitely could be wrong. I think this card's really cool. I think it's going to see some play in a Grendel ramp deck that's trying to get to the higher range Grendel cards. But, excuse me, we don't know yet if this card's actually going to see play, because we don't know if the Grendel deck is slow or fast. We really don't. We've seen a mix of both. I think this card will see some play, just not sure how much yet. Now, Zaniel in the chat said there are enough gunslingers that are quality that it'll probably be played. That's a fair point. The gunslingers we're seeing are pretty good. I just am concerned about the weapon, speaking of the previous card. The weapon quality is a bit low. But let's move on to our next one. What are we looking at? We're looking at Clutchmate. So this is the Dinosaur one. Play a copy of one of your units. If it's a Dinosaur, give both +0/+1. So, I instantly compare this card to Mirror Image, and Mirror Image is 1 mana less, but doesn't buff your team. I don't think this card is good. I think Mirror Image is a better card than this card, and Mirror Image sees 0 play, except out of like a combo deck. But realistically, it doesn't see any play. And because of that, I think Clutchmate also will see 0 play. I think it is worse than Mirror Image. Although I guess I'm gonna exchange 1 mana for plus 2. Sure, that is true, but that doesn't actually correlate correctly, because 3 mana and 4 mana is a big difference when it's an effect like this that already requires you to have a unit on board. Like, if you're at all behind, this card's bad. And if your units aren't the best quality, it's pretty bad. But you could have Tarods 9 through 12. Sure. Yeah, card's okay in draft, but so is Mirror Image, honestly. I think this card's okay. I don't think it's going to see any constructed play, which is what most of my review is based upon. I do think this card's fine in draft, though. I think it's solid there, where effects like this are valuable. But let's take a look at our next one. Okay, let's stop for a second and talk about the Mirror Image thing. The reason Mirror Image isn't played is because you already need minions on board, and you also need to have, like, you need minions on board, but you also need good quality minions on board. So we do have the Dinosaur synergy. The problem is all the dinosaurs are already bigger than other minions. That's the whole point of dinosaurs, is they're just bigger. I don't think I need to make my dinosaurs bigger than they already are, because they're already bigger than what my opponent is doing. So I don't think this card's very good. I'm gonna move on to the next card. Bisma, Revert Elder. Jeez, I'm good at this. 4 mana, 3/3. Unseen is notable though, but it's pretty weak stat line. But when you play another Unseen, Bisma gets a random battle skill. Entomb. Give one of your units Bisma's battle skills. Shit, I can't remember Desert Marshal's voice line. You can't escape me. That's how I feel about this card. There are some really good Unseen, that is true. The fact that this is Justice is weird as fuck. Like, I thought the Unseen were found. But this is a really interesting card. The fact that we're playing Hearthstone again is kind of interesting, where it's just random. The fact that it's also give one of your units means you choose. That's pretty good. The fact that it's such a shit body is a problem. But like, if I play this and I hit a weak skill, like I hit Endurance. 4 mana 3/3 Endurance is not good. Oh, yeah, I haven't actually looked at like the set 2 and set 1 cards that are of the tribes yet. But from what I was understanding, it was more of a film thing. At least from the spoilers. But I don't think this card's that good. The other Unseen are just better, and I don't think you want to put weaker cards in your deck to try to make good cards better. Like, I think this card is just a little bit too weak and requires too much input to really get the value out of it that you're looking for in your 4-drops. Although I think it's an awesome card, I don't think it's going to see much play. Although there's definitely going to be lots of, like, montage style moments with this card. Which is, yeah. Tell that to Xenon Guardian. Yeah, from a draft perspective, this card's great. Absolutely great, assuming you have a few Unseen. But in Constructed, I just think this card's too unimpactful. That's my opinion, at least. Chat seems to want to tell me, though, that Feln are... So the Feln are, like, the aggressive ones, and the Huru are more of the, like, slow, flyer, that type of thing, which makes sense. But let's look at our next card. I think, that's my opinion on this card. I think some people are going to want to play with this card. Like, I want to play this card just to sometimes high roll people. That doesn't mean I think it's good. Alright, what do we have left? We have Gearmaster. 4 mana 2/2. Okay, but let's try this again. 4 mana 2/2. It's an Explorer, which is relevant for the Sentinel tribe. When you play a Sentinel, draw a card and buff this guy. So a 4-mana 2/2 on its worst day is interesting. It's such a shit body, but it's also an engine, and this reminds me of Quartermaster. The difference is Quartermaster you can go like when double whatever the time 1-mana echo weapon is, you can play that, draw 2 cards. But with this, the Sentinels are going to take up your whole turn. So it's going to, although it cycles, making this a reasonable body is going to be incredibly difficult. Normally cards like this are a little bit cheaper. But the fact that it also gets bigger is the reason why it costs so much. I think this card's okay. I don't know how much card draw, the Sentinels deck will have. I don't think this is a good way to get your card draw because it can be so unimpactful when you play it. I think it's an awesome card, and I like it that it exists. But I think this card is either too high roll or too low roll. This card does everything, and you win the game because you're already ahead and your opponent doesn't have removal. Or like you play this when you're on parity, and then you just start drawing cards. But I just think this card is kind of weak. I'm just gonna read some chat here. Yeah, anything that says draw a card is good, so to say. But I just think this is so weak to removal and things like that. Is just too weak to actually see play. I think it's just too much of an investment to actually get your value out of this card, sadly. Even though I think it's awesome. Also, just gonna catch up here. I do think someone asked about the Unseen Aegis card. That card requires Knight, but I do think it's an awesome card, and I think it's very good, especially in the Unseen deck. But let's keep talking about cards we're talking about today. So our last card, Battlefield Scavenger. 2-mana 1/3 Warcry. There's a Minotaur that does that, and he's quite good in draft, but he doesn't see any constructed play right now. But you could pay 5 mana to draw a Valkyrie from your void of your choice. It doesn't silence it or anything like that, but it gets Warcry. So if you're in like Argentport Valkyries, I think this card is quite good. Although it dies to Torch, it's a good blocker. And like it's a good blocker versus aggro is my point. It's fine when you start attacking early. Like if you're against a control or whatever, just getting a couple war cries on those Valkyries, making them more relevant bodies is great. And the fact that you also have the late game mana dump that happens to be card advantage, I think is really good. Like if hey, I need a Valkyrie Enforcer. Alright, but I have a Valkyrie Enforcer from my graveyard, so it doesn't cost me a card to get it. And it gets Warcry, which is not overly relevant, but is nice. I think this card's quite good if there's a Valkyrie Argentport deck. I think it will see play if that deck exists. If that deck doesn't exist, I don't think this card sees much play. If any. But I think if the deck exists, I think it's pretty awesome. So, that is all the spoilers for today. I want to say thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. See ya.